Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Have you ever stopped to think about the digital front doors we walk through every single day just to access human knowledge? We click, we scroll, we search, often completely ignoring the actual architecture of the websites we're visiting. Well, today, we're going to look at what happens when you hit a wall right at the threshold of the world's premier scientific repository. We're going to treat a seemingly mundane web portal, the homepage of Science magazine, as a fascinating piece of digital archaeology. It's not just a website, right? It's really a mirror reflecting our modern relationship with information, access, and technology. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with a gateway to science, move into what science is trending, hit the cookie absence barrier, and finally unpack the publishing ecosystem.
All right, Section 1, the gateway to science, mapping the access.
Let's start at the very top of the page. We really need to ground ourselves in the institutional authority of what we're actually analyzing here. Everything is powered by the AAAS. That's the American Association for the Advancement of Science. This isn't just some random blog. It's a massive institution that's been curating human discovery for a very long time. When you land on this page, you are essentially standing in the digital lobby of scientific authority. But, what does that authority actually look like in practice today? Well, the AAAS oversees a huge family of journals. You've got Science, Science Advances, Science Immunology, Science Robotics, Science Signaling, Science Translational Medicine, and all their various partner journals. It really captures the sheer, overwhelming volume of publication wings waiting just behind that digital gateway. Science has become so specialized and so expansive that one single journal just literally cannot contain the whole shebang anymore. It's branched out into highly focused disciplines, covering everything from the mechanics of robotics to the front lines of translational medicine. And when you look at the navigation menus, you can see exactly who this ecosystem was built for. It acts as this massive hub catering to wildly different needs. For instance, you've got dedicated portals for librarians and advertisers managing the heavy institutional and commercial access. Then you have authors and reviewers, who are basically the engines of peer review and publishing. But right alongside them, you have the general public. There are links to newsletters, videos, podcasts, and visualizations. So this single site is attempting to be all things to all people. It's acting as a rigorous academic gatekeeper for institutions and a fun, engaging public educator for the curious mind, all at the exact same time. Moving right along to Section 2, What Science is Trending? Present-day urgency. Now, check out this search bar data. The site publicly lists its trending terms, and they are cancer, climate, artificial intelligence, postdoc, and aging. It's actually kind of wild how these 5 simple words serve as this profound summary of our highest collective anxieties and our biggest technological priorities. We are desperately trying to cure cancer and halt aging, we're deeply worried about the climate, and we're simultaneously grappling with the explosive rise of AI. And then, right in the middle of all that heavy stuff, there's the word postdoc. That's such a great reminder of the deeply human element here, the actual young scientists trying to figure out their careers, secure funding, and navigate this massive academic machine. All of this data builds a really fascinating picture of time on the portal. We have the daily pulse, represented by their prompt for a free daily newsletter delivery. We have the immediate urgency, captured by those live trending search terms we just talked about. And then, anchored at the very bottom, we find the year 2026 in the copyright and digital timestamp. We can practically stamp this entire explainer as a dispatch from the 2026 digital landscape, tracking the pulse of science day by day, and mapping out exactly where our collective focus was aimed. Which brings us to Section 3, the cookie absent barrier, the digital gatekeeper. Okay, so just as we're getting super excited to access all this knowledge, our narrative comes to a screeching halt. We hit the central drama of the text. The main content abruptly vanishes, and it's replaced by this incredibly unyielding message: cookie absent. This website requires cookies to function properly. Please enable cookies in your browser and try again. This tiny piece of code acts as the strict digital gatekeeper to modern science. Think about it. You could be a world-renowned researcher looking for a critical immunology paper, or just a student trying to understand climate change, but if your browser settings are too strict, bam, the door slams completely shut. It perfectly highlights the bizarre tension we live with today. On one hand, we have this majestic pursuit of knowledge, curing cancer, halting climate change, understanding AI. And on the other hand, we have these deeply mundane technical requirements. Cookie absent. Please enable cookies. Let's just pause and appreciate the sharp, almost ironic contrast here. We have the lofty, world-saving goals of scientific discovery, brought to a total standstill by the highly bureaucratic reality of web browsers.
The universe's deepest secrets are literally locked behind a tiny, invisible text file that tracks your web clicks. Absolutely crazy, right? The portal leaves the user with this unyielding procedural journey to unlock the data. Step 1, enable cookies in your browser. Step 2, try again. It's entirely binary. There's no negotiation, there's no alternative route to the research. This proves that technical compliance is the absolute price of entry into the modern scientific community. Understanding this matters because it shows how access to information is rarely just about the information itself. It's about navigating the invisible digital toll booths we've built along the way. Finally, we reach Section 4, the publishing ecosystem, institutional realities.
So if we bypass that error and scroll all the way down to the footer, we find this lineup of AAS partners: Hinari, Agora, Aware, Chorus, Clocks, Crossref, and Counter. What you're looking at is an impressive alphabet soup of global consortiums. This forms the quiet, powerful infrastructure that keeps this entire digital library afloat. These partnerships handle the heavy lifting of global science, stuff like providing developing nations with equitable journal access, digitally archiving data so it never disappears, and securely tracking citations. It is the invisible plumbing of the global scientific community just operating quietly down at the bottom of the page.
And right beneath all those partners, we see the rules governing the gateway itself: terms of service, privacy policy, cookie preferences, and accessibility guidelines. It's a sobering reminder that beneath the groundbreaking, cutting-edge research on things like artificial intelligence lies a bedrock foundation of strict legal and privacy frameworks. Every single time you read a paper or download a dataset, you're engaging in a binding legal contract within a massive publishing ecosystem. Science doesn't exist in a vacuum, you know? It exists in a highly regulated, highly structured digital space.
Which brings us to our final thought, and the core question I want to leave you with today. In an era of totally unprecedented discovery, why does the ultimate gateway to human knowledge still depend on a browser cookie? It leaves us with a fascinating thought about the delicate balance between the vast open promise of science, our desperate need to cure disease and understand our world, and the rigid commercial digital walls we've built around it. So the next time you hit a mundane wall on a website, take a moment to think about what magnificent knowledge might be sitting just on the other side, waiting for you to simply click accept. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.